Well, I'm afraid to the fellas, I'm to the boys, ladies, mantumbazana, the banyanas, nisho nini mbogoto. Poo 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 poo. Welcome to my take, and this is your boy Mel. Hayi namhlanje ngeke bafethu, namhlanje ngihlala phezu kweqiniso. Ngeke phela siloku sifana la kuma comfort zone. So loku ngeke mngani wami namhlanje zokutshela indaba zakho as we discuss why you still single. But before you do that, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Anyway, it takes just 5 seconds. 5 seconds. ukuthi nje vele ucofe yonke into oyibona lapho. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Anginethemba ukuthi uvele wacofa nje yonke into ecofekayo lapho. So today, guys, we'll be tackling the topic why you are still single. What would you do if I told you that all the stuff, all the sad stuff, the painful, the hurt, the trauma and everything that you've accrued in the past in all the relationships was your fault? Like, it's all on you. You deserved it. It's all on you. It's your fault. You brought it on yourself. What would you say? Because it is your fault. I will get that, guys. Get that. But my point right now is too often times things happen in our relationships and we never really take time to look at the person in the mirror and just reflect as to what role did you play in all that we went through and the mess that whatever we were in ended up being or everything. So today I just want to take time for us to I want to take time and with you guys just to go through stuff that we probably are not aware of, but are the reasons why you're probably single. The first one that I would like to highlight is the one where I just say, you know what, you just don't know what you're doing. Like, you don't fully understand what you're doing. And I'm saying this relating to the dating styles that people are practicing out here. There's some people who have adopted the European style way of dating. There's some people who are into the old cultural, old-fashioned kind of way of dating. As Africans, you know how it used to go. It's not like the European way of, sharing tombazana from the beginning to the coating to, we both have different avenues. But then you guys, as the woke generation, you are not so sure, or you're not really like vivid as to what you're doing. Some of you are just, or should I say some of us are just picking and choosing what to take and what not to take. As it is right now, some people are in talking stages, but they do not know what a talking stage entails. And at the same time, they're expecting some things that are from the old-fashioned way of doing things. And so it's a bit of a mix. So with all these things and people meeting and not knowing which way they're going, are we at the beginning? Are we at the end? Are we at the middle? How long are we supposed to be doing this? How long is that supposed to go for? How long? Some people have been in talking stages for over 2 years. Thola ukuthi usisters sola wajola noJabu bangena ku-talking stage ngo-2019. uJabu selihliwa ikhekhe likagirls seliphele lonke. Nalapho usahleli ku-talking stage. Mathi uyabuza uJabu, what are we? uJabu athi, we were still figuring out things. And you think to yourself, people don't understand what they're actually getting into, and they don't understand what to expect or what is expected or what is supposed to be happening at certain stages, because they're engaging in foreign stuff, or they don't fully understand what they're doing and what is supposed to be happening. So we find people just putting themselves in situations that end up being hurtful situations, especially when you find a person who is into the old cultural way of pursuing a person and a person who is into the modern day way of dating. So to look at right now, me as a guy, let's just say I'm into European way of dating and I'm doing it the European way. But then I meet a girl likes old-fashioned way, likes guy to just show up, guy to put his all, likes guy to put in the effort, like guy to chase her, likes guy to... But European style is kind of a little bit different. So I'm saying about the talking stage, and talking stage, girl doesn't understand that during talking stage we are sussing each other out. Like, this is the point where we are sussing. We're just trying to figure out whether we're compatible or whatever. So she may not fully understand that during this stage what is expected of her, what is she supposed to be doing. So you might find yourself in a situation where someone is already falling in love, or someone is already fallen deep in love with you, and they're already giving away maybe benefits or things that are supposed to be happening in a later stage. And you know how it is. Sometimes as this guy, we don't hold back. Tell you so and so, and but someone's already in love, but I'm in the talking stage. And every time, so there's like a mismatch of what's really going on there. I hope you understand. So, guys, let's be careful. Let's understand what we're doing. Let's us always from the get go understand what are we doing. Are you into this way of starting off things? How do you date? How does it go? Where are we going? How do you picture it? At least that way you understand how a person moves and how it's supposed to. And that way you'll be able to pull yourself out of a situation before it gets hurtful or whatever. And you're gone. Or you end up just being single and you're in a talking stage for 2 years. That girl's still in the talking stage and it's been 2 years. It's been in talking stage since 2019. But, hectic. Another reason why you're probably single is okay, let me not say the reason why you're probably single, because I think this one is kind of like a universal one. It goes to both women and men. Like the failure to accept each other. I mean men and women failing to accept each other for who they are. Like women have a vision of their self of who or what men are supposed to be, and men have a vision of what women are supposed to be. Like we're not taking time to understand each other and our differences in all of this. So to look at right now as it is, I'm going out there and I'm saying I'm looking for a partner. And as I go out there and I'm looking for a partner, the partner that I wants certain things from me, but I'm refusing to understand that this certain person or this type of partner, for me to be with them and for me to be with them in a successful relationship, they will require a certain something from me, or me to satisfy something about them or understand certain aspects about them for us to actually work. So I think there's a rift between men and women in terms of understanding each other. And what I'm saying right now is I'm just relating it to the modern day woman. You know how women would say they want a man who's like this, like this, like this, like this, like this, and they will go out there and find that guy. But then when that guy comes back and says, I want a woman who will cook for me every day, a woman who will do this for me every day, or a woman who enjoys doing this, and that's where the problem is. Then someone dismisses what that person they want wants. All these conversations about I'm a very busy person, I can't do that, that is slavery, and the name calling, and you know what I mean. And on the other end, the guy is also saying whatever, what you woman don't. And so I think there is a rift, and we're not exactly listening to each other as different genders. So it's actually affecting us in such a way that we want certain people, we say this is the person I want, but we're not exactly willing to listen to what the other person requires of us, or we just dismiss it in the sense ukuthi vele uthi uyahlanyelwa ngeke phela ngimphekele everyday. Ngiyanazi phela nabo sisters anisakwazi ukupheka na, angeke ngimphekele everyday, uyahlanya ngiyasebenza mina or whatever, or you know, that kind of vibe. Or it's that gender role thing has been dismantled, and so it becomes difficult in the dating scene when you want a certain somebody, but you're not willing to listen to them or meet the requirements that are required that for you to actually be with them. You know what I mean? Just like how it works in interviews. I think that's the approach we're supposed to take actually when we're going into this dating scene. Like when you're getting interviewed for a job, you actually make sure you meet all the requirements for you to be the perfect fit for the job. So I think it's always best for all parties, both men and women, to always go there and understand that right now I'm going to be interviewed for a position. I have to understand what the next party needs or desires of me. And at that point, I think it also helps establish that this person might just be a right match, or they might just not be the one for you at the end of the day. Because if someone says they want a woman who cooks and you do not cook, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. If you cannot cook, or you're a woman who doesn't clean, or a woman who doesn't want to have kids, or you can express it very early at early stages because you're already having important conversations from the get-go. Not lento yokuthi we start jumping in and then we get in, and then when you're inside you realize, hayibo, wena Zola, you're not, you can't cook, or wena Zola, you don't have kids, or where I'm too lazy. What is wrong with you? You know, I don't know what. I can't really relate to many. You know what? But those are the examples. So yeah. So I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. So I think we have a problem of dismissing each other's opinions, each other's requirements, each other's, and always pushing our own. In which I would like to say it's probably more like we're more self-centered, or we're more like selfish in terms of finding a partner. We want certain things, but we're not willing to do certain things for the people that we want to invite into our lives. And another reason why you're probably single, or people are still single, is because people tend to ignore their intuition. Like intuition, I'm talking about that gut feeling from the get-go. You know, from the get-go, sometimes there's always that thing, not even sometimes. I think with us guys, normally we know at a very early stage that, you know what, something is not right here. I smell fish, you know what I mean? Or there's an element of bullshit, and I don't think I want to go through this to the end. So you usually know this thing very early, especially when I'm Mina personal. So maybe let me not generalize. Let me not generalize. Maybe it's not for all guys. So I don't want to put other people in a hot seat. Maybe it takes them time. But for Mina, I usually just know. My gut feeling usually just kind of, even though I may not be able to put a finger on it sometimes, but there's always that gut feeling, that intuition that just tells you something might just not be right here. You know what I mean? And people tend to just ignore it because, you know, like I like to believe a gut feeling is like a spirit. It's like a spirit thing. It's like a spirit. Your spirit just recognizes that explosion from the get go. That, you know, like, this is it. You're just bouncing off each other. The connection is there. The chemistry is there. The compatibility is there. You just feel like running in. It's not hard. So we tend to just dismiss that, and we tend to end up finding ourselves getting into all these routines with people that we tolerate. Like we teach ourselves to tolerate people, um, knowing very well something is not going to work. In which all of this, I'd like to believe, it's usually sparked by fear, and probably the fact that you probably haven't healed from your past experiences, and you're just like, "Ah, if not them, then who?" Or maybe we're failing to be honest with ourselves. You know, sometimes it's quite hard to look at someone and they're so perfect, like thola ukuthi umuntu perfect, like umbheke umuntu ukuthi hey, like initially attracted to them, like this person is an amazing person. And right now, if I was to tell my friend that that girl that ebengimtshela ngayo ukuthi uyangihlanyisa, something is off, or something is just not connecting, or something, it wouldn't make sense. So sometimes you just end up just going through with it because the person is an amazing person, but there's there isn't that thing. I mean, we all know, or I think we all know, and we've probably all been in relationships where we have felt a stronger connection. And whenever you're in it, you know that I've felt something stronger than this before in my life. I've been in a relationship before, and I have felt something way stronger than this before. But at this point in time, and this certain time, I'm not feeling it. She's so pretty. She's all these things, but there isn't that initial, you know what I mean? And usually that's where we actually put ourselves in a point of tolerating someone because they are an amazing person, and we're just trying to make it work. In which that's a wrong reason to actually, and before you know it, this thing explodes and you're back in the streets. And another reason why you're probably still single is because of fear. You're scared of love. Um, and this usually happens when you haven't fully healed, or you're still dealing with trauma. And yeah, it's kind of hard to just go out there and put yourself out there, and and be vulnerable again. So it 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 ends up sparking this element of self-sabotage. Like I'm sure we've all experienced a situation where you meet someone and you like them and you're nice to them and you do everything for them, and they're quite with you, but they are struggling to understand, why is this thing so nice? Like, why are you so nice to me? why are you like this? Why are you outside the norm? Why? Until they find a reason to actually run away, or you do something. I mean, we make mistakes all the time. I, for one, am guilty. I always do stupid shit, but but not intentionally. Like maybe you do something silly somewhere, and then they just go, aha, you know what I mean? And then they just self sabotage and run away. So usually, all of this is just sparked by the fact that someone is scared, or they're struggling to be vulnerable because they're dealing with a certain trauma. And this also leads to a point where someone always makes this safe speaks, especially with women. Women, I think a lot of women, I don't know. Okay, so that I don't know really fully about. Okay, but I guess guys do go through it. But I think the extent to which women have gone through stuff is actually like hectic, or they've got more trauma, or let me just say older women have got more trauma. I okay, fine, everyone has gone through stuff. Okay, everyone has gone through stuff. So but usually this for me, I've actually seen it around women, that women end up being at a point where they take a safe peek. Like they would actually sabotage a good thing with a good guy, like, or you find them, or find someone just saying someone is too nice, or there's something that happened, but it's actually a silly reason, but um it's all because it's out of fear of breaking down their walls and being vulnerable in a relationship, because they're afraid that that person is going to hurt them. And so they'll go for a safer pick, someone who's predictable. They'll rather go and date a player. They'll rather go and date someone who's dodgy. Because they know that person is just going to do something shitty. And it's always good to say they are comfortable in being guarded. Like someone gets comfortable in being guarded, like putting up your walls. Someone gets comfortable in just always being guarded, and being a person who says, I'm safer here. I'm safer knowing he's cheating. I'm safer knowing he's a piece of shit. I'm safer knowing. So people are struggling in that sense. So they would rather shy away from that person who's forcing them to get out of that element of that safety net that they have built for themselves, and just, delve into the. So basically, that's why I always recommend people to just take time to, engage in programs that have something to do with healing. Take time to look back, take time to reflect where you got hurt, because you can imagine what you're denying yourself. Like you're denying yourself experiences, you're denying yourself love, you're denying yourself happiness because you haven't taken time to heal. Take it for example. Thina ngesikhathi sizingane, would go outside, go and play, get hurt, come back home crying, get patched up. But that trauma of having been gone out, of having gone outside, maybe I was playing on a swing and then I fell, and then probably had wounded my knee or something, will not stop me from going there again. That's just how it's supposed to be. We never stopped going outside to go and play, and we'll always go. Even if you're hurt or limping, you'd still, after a couple of hours or a couple of just licking your wounds, and you'd still want to go outside and play with your friends and experience happiness fully. So that's just how we as humans are supposed to be programmed. Always take a hit. Sometimes you can never really run away from pain. You just have to be vulnerable. I'm not saying it's just going to work out at one go. Everyone has to gamble. Everyone has to go out there. Women, you have to kiss a couple of frogs. It just has to happen. So it's like it's just steps to finding your way to happiness. Just like how I said, as a kid, you'd go outside, go play, get hurt, come back, go back. But that wouldn't stop you from going back outside to play. So you should have the same mentality. Go outside, meet someone, boy meets girl, have fun. Maybe she doesn't go right, get hurt, sit back, reflect, heal, go through the process. And when you feel like you're in a good space, go back into the dating game again and go find your Prince Charming or your princess or whatever it's supposed to be like. So, and the other thing, guys, I don't know what to do about this one, but I can only say you can always start by just saying it out and try pushing the message that this whole thing of saying men are trash, I think it has been pushed far. I understand that this statement carries a lot of trauma that people have gone through, but I think it has gotten to a point where it is sucking out the air out of everything, out of all the positivity that there is. People are not seeing any hope in everything happening at some point. So guys, just be careful with this all things and social media and just how this information is being circulated. Sometimes these things play a role in just increasing or exacerbating the cynicism that is out there. So yeah, guys, I recommend that you just go take time to heal, because it's standing in the way of you finding your happiness. Another reason why you're probably still single is it's usually, I think this reason is one that people tend to overlook, and it's your failure to communicate. There's some people who I don't know what to say. I don't know if it's a thing that's sparked by not being in a good headspace, but there's some people who just give off miserable energy. Yeah, they don't tend to understand it, but I'm sure there's some people who can understand, especially us guys. You meet a girl, probably pretty, attracted to her, but hey, you get to a point where you're like, you know what? I think I'm actually even happier when I'm alone. This person literally sucks the living shit out of me. Like, I don't even know why I'm wasting time with them. Like, they have this miserable, heavy energy. Like, it just, if like like ungathi unomkhazi, like yo, and uqeda my battery. Like, it's so draining to be around them. Like, their energy is just always off all the time. So I think people need to take time to just check their energy and the way they communicate with other people. And with regards to communication, communication is very important, guy. Like, it's very important. It's like the core of everything else. And with us guys, like I always say, probably it's because we don't pay enough attention when women are talking. I don't know whether should I say women should try and explain themselves in a better way, or should I just say guys should um, pay more attention. I don't know which one is which, but it's usually just like a gray area. Like sometimes, for example, you're with your girl and something happens and she says something, and it's actually just in a scenario where um you're talking or she says something and then you're like, oh yeah, whatever, yeah, and then maybe 2 days after she'll she'll ask you to pass the knife or something, and then you, I don't know, and then you just pass the knife, and then maybe you pass it out recklessly, and then she's just like, you know what, you just don't care about me, but anyway, it's fine, I'll just take it. Or maybe you delay to pass it, I'll just take it for myself, you don't care about. So you know how women always like putting these statements, you don't care about me, that part where she says you don't care about me and the knife, you understand the logic. You don't care about me, but we're talking about the knife, and the point where you're like, I was just passing you the knife, and it's always about you don't care. So sometimes women have a weird way. I don't know whether it's a normal thing or it's just a woman thing, or but it's a bit confusing. But communication is so for us guys and guys out there, I say stay vigilante. Women have a weird way of communicating, but that's when you know you're supposed to address it, because it's usually her getting frustrated and she's trying to tell you you don't care, or something happened or it's piling from somewhere, but she's just finding loopholes to fit it in. You know what I mean? We guys are very logical people. Like, that's why we tend to find ourselves in situations where we find women saying something, and then you're like, even if it's not making the best of logic at that point in time, you need to understand that sometimes women are just saying it from an emotional point of view. So we need to learn to communicate with each other, and therefore all these little miscommunications lead us to finding ourselves out of relationships and single. And another reason why you're probably single is because you haven't established an effective way of meeting people. Kunalabantu nje bahlala nje just locked away, probably in their house all the time, or to a point where it's actually toxic. Badlala is Rapunzel. Is it Rapunzel? The one who lowers down the hair? Yeah. They expect a Prince Charming to just pop out from somewhere and, I don't know, jump through the window and get in and declare their love to them. And then you think to yourself, I know, that's never going to happen. Angazi ukuthi uhloseni noma ufuna ukuthi umuntu aze kini azogqoleza nje kuphela qhomisa isibhamu kushade ngenkani. I don't know because I don't know what you're picturing, but as a person you need to establish an effective way of meeting people, and I think it's quite actually even easier nowadays considering that there are dating sites. Don't be shy to be on dating sites, but I'd like to believe you have to be careful though, because my dating sites half the time there's a lot of funny dating sites where you meet meet so many weird dodgy people, but I would recommend that you get on a dating site and try and meet people online. And I'd recommend that the best way to suss out a best dating site for yourself would be to probably go for dating sites most where men are required to pay. This one's for the ladies. Where men are required to pay a subscription to be on the dating site. Usually there's more serious men on those platforms. But Mahala and that's the ghetto. That's the ghetto Takama. Rest. Don't go there. Don't go there. You probably meet a serial player and whatever. But the one that makes people pay is the one where you usually find like sensible people who are rather, it's like a sampled crowd rather, yeah. So you also need to understand that being on a dating site does not guarantee you love though. So you have to keep a very open mind. It doesn't guarantee you love, but it will guarantee you that you will meet people. So always open yourself to experiences, because you might just not fall into the first person, or the first person might not just be a right person for you. Like you always know how dating sites always bring a compatible person for you and stuff. Always remember, compatibility does not always guarantee a connection, right? So you might be compatible, you might like running, you might like baking both together, you might like sports, but there might just not be a connection at the end of the day. So I would recommend that you jump on, but always keep an open mind that it does not guarantee love, but it will guarantee you experiences and that you will meet people. And another reason why you're probably single is because you make dating all about you. I mean, I think most guys can attest to this. I can attest to this. Like, you go on a date with someone and you meet someone and they're just busy telling you what they want. Like, I mean, like a long ass list of the things that you're supposed to do for them. And you're like, like they don't even ask you what you want from them. Like they don't even bothered by what you want from them. So I think it affects a lot of ladies a lot when they forget to say what do you want of me? Or maybe I'm just viewing this narrowly or whatever. Or maybe it happens to ladies a lot. I wouldn't know fully because I don't get to experience that side of life. But from my side or my point of view or from my standpoint, I've realized that most people just show up and they tell you what they want of you, but they never really take time to understand what are you expecting of them. So they make it all about them. And you think to yourself, like, I don't even understand what I'm getting myself into, because you're not presenting what is here. You're not telling me about who you are. You're not telling me, I'm here to know about you, not what you want me to do, not give me a to-do list. You know what I mean? So people tend to just go out there and they give you a to-do list, and then at the end of the day, you're walking away not even knowing who she is. She doesn't know who you are, but she told you what she wants from you. Like, so, and sometimes that thing is usually just it's perceived as it comes off as negative. It's just that negative where someone just goes like, "Hey, I want this and want this and I want this," and I have to say, most guys really do have a stomach for it. Like they will tolerate it just to bypass all that for sex, just to qualify to have sex with that. They will have the sex with that girl. They will do some of the stuff just to have their way to have sex. But one thing is, it will not manifest into something bigger or better. They'll just do it because she has a to-do list. I'll do some of the stuff, then I'll have sex with her, and then I walk away. So, and the sad part is most girls are doing this all in the name of self-love. And I feel like it's being confused for self-absorbed. I think people have are failing to find the difference there. someone will say it's self-love. If someone doesn't do this for me, they don't deserve me, or someone is not doing this, they don't deserve me. And but at the end of the day, you ask yourself, what are you bringing? The other party does not even understand what you have to offer. They don't even understand who you are. But unali list is unali ditaba man. Yabo, like kwenzakalani, you know. So I just say, please just be cautious of how you communicate with people, and go on dates and be there to ask the right questions, be there to talk to a person nicely, be there to, take time to listen, understand what the next person requires of you, what is wanted of you, what must happen for us to, to sail into the sunset. So yeah. And another reason you're probably single circles around the notion of people having sex on the first date. It's a gray area. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with having sex with someone on a first date, but then again, let's just take. I just feel like there's a safer way of doing it, because I've never heard a man saying, I left her because she refused to have sex with me on the first date. So I think it's always safer to take your time, especially ladies. This one goes out to the ladies. It's always, I think it's always safer for you to just take some time before you give up the cookie. Just take time to assess, because there's really nothing that will be lost from making someone wait a little bit. So I know energy sometimes just, it's okay, it's all good. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but I'm just saying, I would advise you take a safer route and just hold back for a bit, and then, you know what I mean? I'm in bed, in bed. So rather exercise being safe and try and establish what's going on, and because usually I can't really say how things go. There's no formula at the end of the day. Some have had it on the first date and they've never left each other, and they even got married. Some didn't, and then they had it after 3 months, and then shit went to shit, and everything went to shit. And so there's no formula to it. But I'm just saying, it's rather exercise a safer route, and sometimes it keeps that flair, or that need to a motivation. So it kind of keeps someone on their toes or whatever, just to keep them interested. Like, on the first day. But anyway, just take a safer route. That's what I'm just trying to say. Yeah, what I'm trying to say. I know the guys are going to hate me for this, but come on, I'm just looking out for everyone. And another reason why you're probably single, and this one people usually take for granted, but it starts with you, in the sense that you don't love yourself. Self-love, guys. Self-love. People take self-love for granted. You need to learn to love yourself. People don't love themselves. That's why they keep throwing themselves all over the place. And I don't think people really fully understand what self-love is. Don't understand self-love every time you get heartbroken, or that's when you want to exercise self-love. Self-love is loving yourself, embracing yourself, appreciating yourself on every day, and respecting yourself enough to do the things that make you a better person. Self-love is making sure that you get enough sleep, you drink water, you eat healthy, you exercise, you in your best shape, or you're trying to be in your best shape, you are educating yourself, you are just trying to explore the best, and you're a person who actually is so filled with life, and having all these things going into you sparks a lot of positivity. You just know it. Like, even if now even when you're in a room, you know that people can even feel your aura. People feel auras, but people take these things for granted. But self-love is probably the reason why you're not taking care of yourself. You're not you're not taking out all that positive, because you're not putting in the good energy in you. You're probably eating bad, you don't even like yourself, or but then you're out here expecting people to love you. And so don't take self-love for granted. It's the simple things. Stay hydrated, sleep on time, don't sacrifice your sleep for that show or live television or whatever. I don't know, whatever it is, but Sleep on time, get that sleep. Umuntu nama-eyebag and then you meet the love of your life and they don't even see you tomorrow because you were looking like a so yeah. Anyway, so self-love plays an important part. So don't take it for granted. Drink that water, sleep on time, eat healthy, exercise, educate yourself. Just focus on getting better, right? Before you even talk about the next person, before you get into a relationship and get hurt, and then you realize that this, before all those things are factored in, just take good care of yourself as a person, as an individual, as a, just be a universe on your own, bursting with flavor, bursting with life, bursting with all of these things. So yeah, take good care of yourself and after that, you know how energy attracts good energy. You'll find yourself in spaces where you'll be pulling a certain criteria of people. But yeah, I have to say, even the ones that are craving that energy, sometimes they are the broken ones, but they just wanna. So you gotta be vigilante. Self-love gang, we up. Another reason why you're probably single is because you do not know who belongs in your life. I think people just tend to overlook this one. People don't understand who belongs into their life. And for as long as you do not establish who belongs into your life, you will never get it right. But I always say this, especially when it comes to men in particular. With men in particular, you have to be on your purpose. You need to have a story that you put down and you say, this is my vision and this is how my life is supposed to go and this is how I picture it and how it's going to end, or this is how it's supposed to work out, or this is what I'm working towards. That way, when you have a solid plan, a solid way of moving forward, you will be able to understand that when you go out there to date, you know who belongs into your life. Because right now, you just go out there, you pick just anybody, and they will come and they will ruin your life. You know what I mean? A person won't even understand what you're trying to do. A person who doesn't understand what vision you're pushing for, a person who's not even considerate of what their action can possibly do for you. So it's important to be a person, have your goals in place, understand what is going on in your life, especially for I'm focusing this one mostly on guys because it's very important for us as guys to always pick out a partner that will tally or align with our goal. Because when you don't fully understand your goals and where you're going, you'll be easily swayed. And I won't even lie to you, nowadays we've got this hybrid women. They're actually very strong. And they don't even like them, but you will meet them. And these women are always out here telling you, there will be the women that will be telling you, you need to man up. You need to, because you are easily swayed. And I won't even lie, and they can feel it too when you're not. They will tell you nonsense. They're very strong women out here, and like I always say, masculine women. So don't be that guy who gets easily swayed. Be a guy who's focused. Be a guy who's on his purpose. And trust me, it will be easier for a woman for you to find that woman who will just walk into your life and be the perfect support structure for you to thrive and build together. And last but not least, this one goes out to the ladies. They don't usually like it, they don't like to hear it, but I have to say it. I mean, someone has to say the truth. I mean, but yeah, they'll just say, yeah, it's my opinion. But so usually nowadays, the reason why most women are also single is that they're actually struggling with a lot, and they're struggling with what they've been taught and what their nature is pushing for them. Like, we've got women who have been taught all these things. They've been taught to fear and not rely on men, and they've been told that men are unreliable people. So, and they've been taught so many things by society and all these movements with regards to certain things. So they've been made to build up all these walls and to be certain type of people that have been wired not to, you know what I mean? So they're not exactly built to kind of just align with the men like that because they've been told and it has been preached to them that men are very unreliable people, and men are people that are going to pull you down, or so they struggle in the sense that at a certain point in time in their life they want to have families, they want to have a husband, they don't want to go through life alone. Because can you imagine just living your life, just having a job, and that is all? Because that is what society is teaching our women nowadays. Go out there, get a degree, get more, get your bag, get your life, get your whatever, get fine, and get everything in place. And after that, and the sad part is it's all being pushed with the message that go get it because men are unreliable. Go get it because so that you don't get to need a man in the future. Don't get it. So when women come into the dating scene, they're having struggles with letting themselves open up to men because they've been taught all of these things by society of lately, and it's kind of hard for them to be submissive women, to be women who go into relationships and be that support structure that every man needs, because it's hard for them to be vulnerable in relationships. So a lot of women are struggling to the core, but in their core, they don't want to die alone. They want to have families. They want to be part of something bigger. They want to be mothers. They want to, but then society has preached otherwise. So I don't know if this is going to take therapy or it's going to take whatever to fix it. But then I was just saying, let's just bring it to the surface and just say, you know what? That is probably the reason why you're probably saying, I don't know if it relates to you or you or you or you. It wasn't a generalization. So you can pick whichever one was yours and which one wasn't. I'm not saying I'm reflecting everything on you. You can't probably have all those issues in one. Now, I'm sure I just highlighted one here and there. But I just wanted to bring it to your attention that the reasons why you're probably single are all those reasons that I just mentioned. So let's just take time to be aware again, reflect on them, work on them, be better people, and find our sunset. Hey, so this is the end of my video. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. This is your boy Mel. I am signing out. Peace.